Follow the White Rabbit is a game that will teach all white rabbits how to play practical politics. Practical politics is what you say. Every time you open your mouth, you're playing practical politics. It is called practical politics because it is non-voting, which makes it very, very practical. Once you learn practical politics, how to stay on point, how to make your point over and over again, you can learn to play conventional politics, which is what you do at the voting booth, which is very rule-based. Practical politics has zero rules other than staying on point and understanding how a talking point works. Now, once you learn practical politics, you can also gear yourself up for full spectrum practical politics, which is practical politics by any means necessary, engaging an opponent or a system and taking it down by any and all means necessary within the rules and the law, but never breaking the law, never breaking the rules. It is a very dynamic game. It's one of the most dynamic games played on Earth right now, and I will talk to you more about that. But practical politics is simply the art of making a point and staying on point over and over again. Why do talking points work? Oh, I know what you're saying. Talking points don't work because the masses are asses. Well, no, they work because the masses are asses. Study after study has shown, and billions have been spent to show, that saying the right thing at the right time just works. It's that hit me baby one more time 10 years after the fact that you can't get out of your head even though you hate the singer. It's that help me, help you from that movie that just raced through your mind. It's that oh yes we can that your neighbors fell for. That's what talking points do. They are just sound bites geared for the right place at the right time. But the type of thing we do in practical politics, the type of thing that Bob Whitaker does, is not your typical talking point. It's not there like a slogan to sell a brand. We don't spin BS. BS is a practical term for what the other side does. What we do is weave velvet, and what Bob does is weave a particular type of velvet, which is just truth. And when you have a system based on partial lies or based on some kind of closed-mindedness, saying the truth in a funny way over and over again can help. Bob is very, very good at what he does. We can assume that because he's played it at the highest level imaginable, and I'll talk about some things about Bob. I know Bob personally, although I don't know him personally. I've watched him from afar. I watched him in Chicago and not so much in Boston, but Chicago, especially in the Midwest, when he got involved in Little White Rabbit busing. He didn't think Little White Rabbits should be experimented on, or Little Brown Rabbits should be experimented on in some big social engineering program. And so he came out very forcefully from Washington to try to help them. And although he failed in that endeavor, and he failed in Boston endeavor, he went on to stonewall someone in the Reagan administration when they tried to force integrate the private schools vis-a-vis the tax code. They were going to use the tax code to take away tax status in private schools if they didn't some type of weird, another social engineering scheme. But he stopped that personally. But Bob Whitaker was the only one I've ever seen from Washington come out and try to help Little White Rabbits. And he's one of those big white rabbits. He's what you see is what you get, and that's a term I'll use. WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, and that's exactly what he is. But in Washington, it's something pretty rare. I'm sure you can understand. But I've seen that firsthand from him. I've seen it and watched it from afar, and always thought I'd want to work with him on something. And later on, I got to know of him from his time at the CIA. And what he did at the CIA, well, we can assume he did practical politics. He did practical politics on some level. And I'll talk to you more about his time at the CIA, or what I know about, like something funny from his interview that I know, and other things like that. But Bob has a particular talent for making the silver whistle to blow in front of the pane of glass to shatter it. And he makes the particular type of talent. He has that type of talent to make the golden horn that can, on the third march around, can bring down the walls of Jericho. You see, you can deal steel against a structure all day long, and dealing steel is shooting at something, blowing it up, or just unloading with bombs time and time again against a rigid structure, and it can stand there. It can even strengthen it. But the right tone at the right frequency can just shatter it. And that's how harmonics work. You cannot protect yourself from words, even though you want to. You cannot do anything when the truth hits you. It's like driving by that accident and you don't want to look, but you have to. And that's what Bob specializes in. Me, I'm not what you see is what you get. I'm wide sky. What you don't see can kill you politically. You'll never meet me. You may not even want to meet Bob. But the only thing you have to know about Bob is that he's very, very good at what he does. He designs talking points and mantras to bring down a closed type of system by pointing out its flaws over and over again in a funny way. And that's simply a talking point. You're issued a talking point and you stay on point, and you're playing Follow the White Rabbit. And again, Follow the White Rabbit is a game that will teach you practical politics. Practical politics is practical politics because there's no voting in it. It's what you do when you open up your mouth. When you open up your mouth, you should make it an exercise in power, not an exercise in stupidity. But that's generally, and Bob is a legend at that. And we know again that talking points work, because study after study show that they work. At the right place at the right time, you can become famous on one-liner. But he does a very particular type. He doesn't spin BS. He weaves velvet. He puts out the one that pokes fun at something again and again and again. And that's what Bob does. And again, you will never meet Bob, most likely. You definitely will never meet me. But you can get on his blog. You will see different, maybe different political groups from around the world. Some you know, some you don't know, some that reveal their name, some that don't reveal their name. And they in the future will be posting messages and maybe asking for talking points, or they could be undercover. Undercover lover is someone that you don't know what they're about politically. They're put there for a particular reason. They're what you don't see can kill you politically, and they're looking to blow the big kiss, maybe hang the vote at the right time. I know what you're saying. You're saying that's not nice. Well, practical politics by any means necessary isn't nice. That's the way the game is played now. Now I know what you're saying. You're all idealistic. You want to get in and change the tires, but you got to know who's driving the car, and you got to hit the brakes and pull the thing over and put it in park before you do any of that. So we're here to teach you practical politics. And again, you're going to play it whether you like it or not. And also you play Follow the White Rabbit whether you like it or not. Oh, I know what you're saying. You're saying, Chad, out there in Seattle, that you don't play Follow the White Rabbit. Sure you do. Every time you get in your Prius and go to the local environmental meeting, that's exactly what you do. You play Follow the White Rabbit. Right. Yeah. So what is the first objective? The first objective is to teach you a talking point, to get you on point and saying the same thing over and over again. The only key to talking point is repetition and harmonics in a particular area. You don't even have to do it. You can say it in your bedroom. You can give it to the kid next door to say. You can give it to the old lady. There are no limits to Follow the White Rabbit. It only starts with me a white rabbit, you a white rabbit. It's very simple. And that's one wonderful thing about practical politics that most of you don't understand. It's not idealistic. That goes, conventional politics can appear to be idealistic. Most of you are probably getting the ideal that voting politics isn't very idealistic at all. But practical politics is not necessarily idealistic at all. Ours is not idealistically at all. Bob will talk to anyone, anywhere, and I'll work for anyone as long as it's me a white rabbit, you a white rabbit. It's a very simple game. And the first talking point I want to give you is when you're called a racist. The only answer should be, in your opinion, I'm a racist. You're just saying that because I'm white. Anti-racism is just a code word for anti-white. In your opinion, I'm a racist. You're just saying that because I'm white. Anti-racism is just a code word for anti-white. Now, I know what you're saying. That won't work because talking points don't work and masses are asses. No, that's precisely what they do work. Something that points out the truth over and over again at a time like that, time just like this, it works. Why are we having this conversation right now? It's time for us to have this conversation. What is my name? You can call me H. Some call me Horace. Some call me Agent H. Some call me Horace the Avenger, the agent that you don't want at your door. It doesn't really matter what you call me. I'm just that big white jackrabbit next door looking out for the other little white rabbits, and I'm here to do a job. And my job is the timing. I don't make the whistles. That's Bob, and Bob has a huge ego. His ego is bugs. And he has a huge ego. He loves making that golden horn to bring down Jericho. He loves making that silver whistle. Me, I like blowing it. I'm going to be that piece of ice you slipped on last winter. I'm going to be that puddle you stepped in your new shoes. I'm going to be the character you never forget. And I'm the one that steps up at the end and takes the bow that no one sees. But that's my game. That's what I like to do. Again, your objective is just to stay on point. When you're called a racist, you say, in your opinion, I'm a racist. You're just saying it because I'm white. In your opinion, I'm a racist. You're just saying that because I'm white. Anti-racism is just a code word for anti-white.